Hi, Matt Bisogno here again, and in today's short video update I want to show you a few things which we've recently added to your Geegeez Gold race card experience. Let's start with the Profiler tab, on which we have added, very excitingly for me, two things. Let's put this on trainer so we have a bit more data, hopefully. And yep, so this is the first of them. As you can see, we have a chart section on Profiler now, so you can view on a chart any of the variables that we have within Profiler, any of these variables, and you can view them by any of these metrics. So in this case we've got weight and each way percentage, which may or may not make any sense. What about Sylvester Kirk? For that is the trainer in this case. Percentage of rivals beaten by month, as an example. And if we wanted to do that only in handicap races, we could select the handicap filter. And if we only wanted to look at those races on today's going, in other words, all weather, we could select all weather or the going in this case. And then we've got a chart that looks like this, and we can see that late summer through to about now seems to be optimal for Sylvester Kirk in those circumstances. There's lots of things you can do with this. If we were looking, for instance, by track or maybe by jockey, let's go with by course, and what you'll notice is that it doesn't actually include all of the course names at the bottom because there are too many to feature on this x-axis at the bottom. So what we've got is we've got a zoom feature on desktop. If you left click and drag across, you can zoom into a particular section of the chart like this. You can also do that using the these minus and plus buttons on the left here, and I'm not sure what that one does, to be honest. Anyway, clicking the home button resets it back to the start, and if you want to print this, you can download it as an image file or a CSV file, which is like an Excel file. So in this case, there's that chart, which is quite useful if you wanted to include it in a document or whatever. So that is the chart functionality on Profiler. Oh, I should also show you there's a bar option as well here, which probably doesn't work brilliantly for track, but if we were looking at something like class, it's quite handy to break things down like that. And of course you can go to win percent or whatever suits you. So that's the chart. The other thing that I've alluded to here, which is in both the chart drop down here, PRB, and in the constituent tables for the different variables, is a percentage of rivals beaten column. Now PRB it's not quite Marmite, but it's one of those things that a lot of people are not really up to speed with yet. Let's say it doesn't appear on their radar. It's a very important metric for me personally, because when you've got, for instance, some small data samples like these 10 runs on firm going or 9 on heavy, it's kind of hard to know. 20% win strike rate ostensibly sounds great, but when you look at the overall percentage of rivals beaten, which is 46%, 0.46, that's a good bit less impressive. So I find PRB a very useful metric, and it's something that I tend to look towards by definition now. To remind you, 50% or 0.5 is kind of average. That means you as many horses beat you as you beat, if you like, and a number above sort of 55 or 0.55 is good. A number below 0.45 or 45% rivals beaten is not very good, and again, you know, as with most of these metrics, the higher or lower you go against those, the better or worse it is. So PRB is on here, and in this example we can see that they're not especially strong numbers highlighted, although November does seem to be a reasonable month in that context for Sylvester Kirk. So those are changes to Profiler, which I'm personally excited about. Oh, one other small thing that we've done on here, almost imperceptible, is we have moved, at the request of a user, a very, very smart request, we've moved course, trainer and jockey to the bottom. And the reason we've done that is because they are the ones with loads and loads and loads of rows in them. And when they were in the middle of the data, it was kind of it was sore finger job scrolling through the long lists. So we've put those at the bottom. Obviously, if you're interested in those, you can still find them there. But if you want to look at some of the other stuff, you will be unencumbered by these three biggies at the bottom. So that's that. That's Profiler. What else do I want to tell you about? I want to tell you about some changes to the sectional charts on results. So let me go to an old result. Let's find an old result, and we'll go to Utoxeter, I think. Let's have a look at this race here, picked randomly. So this is a familiar look to you if you have the sectional data set up. Just as a quick aside, if you don't and you didn't know how to, it's in your race card options here on your My Geegeez page. So if you click there, you will see somewhere there, here, sectionals, this section here. The default setting for all users is sectionals display none, which means you won't see this stuff and you won't see any of these buttons here. So you need to turn it on, and you can turn it on by selecting either data or visual. The content that is displayed is slightly different. Data is a bit more technical, and visual is a bit easier to consume if you're new to sectional data. So maybe start with visual, and then if you want to quickly gravitate onto data. The default sections are chunks of a race. So I select the Cool Points version, which is a 5-section race. In this case, sectional. The race was nearly 3 miles, 2 miles 7 furlongs. So we've broken it into 5 roughly equal parts. That's 2 miles 7 is what 23 furlongs. So we've got start to 18, which is about a 5 furlong section, 18 to 12, which is 6, 12 to 6, which is 6, and then we kind of want to break it down a little bit more granularly, if that's a word, towards the business end of the race. So we've got a 6 to 3 furlong section and a 3 to 0, and the size of these sections will obviously change based on the length of the race. OMC stands for opening, middle and closing, and it's simply breaking a race into 3 chunks. Again, in this case, start to 18, so a 5 furlong chunk, then a whopping great 12 furlong chunk in the middle, and then a 6 furlong chunk at the end. Sectional data can be as revealing in kind of marathon, hurdle and chase races as it is in sprint races or anything in between. So we give users flexibility to muck about here. Anyway, that isn't what I wanted to tell you about. What I wanted to tell you about was the new look chart, which has the same data as the old look chart, but a few little nuances. Now, if I just toggle all runners on like this, this is exactly as it was before, but what you can do now is, if you've got all runners selected, and let's say you wanted to know how the winner, which is always the first horse in the list after the par line, performed, you can hover over the winner and it will highlight that one and kind of blur out the other ones. So it's not crystal clear, but you can definitely discern it in the context of the other runners in the race. So I think that's quite a nice little feature, and you can do that for all of the features and functions we have on here. So I'm personally quite excited about that, and others of you will be more or less excited depending on whether you are sectional timing type of guy or girl. So that's that. There is one other thing that I want to show you. It's a small thing, but again, if you use this feature, it's a very useful upgrade, and it's this guy here on the race card options. Proximity form is something that we've added. Now, proximity form lives on the full form tab, and it lives. What have I got here? Yeah, this is fine. And it lives. You can select it here. And as you can see, it's a colour-coded performance grade based on the beaten distance. So how far a horse was beaten determines whether it gets a red, amber or green circle next to its name. And this is, in this case, you can see that these are greens. And if you hover over them, it will tell you, in this case, the horse won. So it says race winner. In this case, where the horse was third, it says it was beaten an average of 0.18 lengths per furlong. So you can see, and that's basically, it was beaten 4.5 lengths here, and the race was a 25 furlong race. So the sum is 4.5 divided by 25.32, because there are some yards on the race distance. So you obviously don't need to know about how we work it out, but we're using the age-old green is good, red is not so good, and amber somewhere in between, as a secondary means of grading performance. Normally people get hung up on the actual finishing position. So in this example, 4th of 15 is actually a pretty good effort, and we've got an amber there. But this 4th of 8, which ostensibly is the same finishing position, he was beaten 49 lengths, and that's a red disc. So this is quite can be quite revealing beyond the actual finishing positions. And up until now, you had to select proximity form each time you logged in and went to the full form tab. But now you can just select it in your My Geegeez area, like I have here, and I will keep it on because I think it's useful information, and it will always be there for you. So those are the upgrades that we've made today. There is a new version of the user guide, which you can view from. You can get a PDF version here, or you can view it on the website from this link here. Just one other thing that I was hoping to include today. It's not quite ready. It'll probably be along later this week, and that is we've upgraded the filters, the race card filters. So what we've done, just two things we've done here. We've basically broken down National Hunt into the constituent codes of hurdle, chase and National Hunt flat. So you can select those individually now. And we used to have handicap and all for race type, and now we've got handicap and non-handicap, so you can select. So if you only want to look at non-handicap races, you can do that, and as you can see, these are the non-handicap races. So that's another small help for those of you who like to filter the races that you want to look at on a daily basis. That will be along in a day or two. Hopefully, if you're watching this video a little bit late, then it's already there. And those are the upgrades that we've got at the end of November 2021. This will be our last deployment. I think this will be our last deployment before Christmas. We'll still be developing, but I don't think we'll be adding anything at this stage between now and the new year. So, but I've got plenty more planned for the new year, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy these little upgrades, especially the profiler charts and the PRB, which is a big win for me personally, at least. Okay, that's enough for now. This is Matt Bisogno saying thank you as always for watching and for being a Geegeez Gold subscriber. We very much appreciate it. And goodbye for now.